Is on the agenda today, but one of those initiatives would update our city's housing plan that was adopted back in 2017 called the Strategic Housing Blueprint. The city's housing department previously told us that blueprint needs updates because of how much Austin has changed in the last 8 years. Some of the events that could alter those plans, of course, include the impact of the COVID pandemic, changes that we've seen of late to the city's land development code, and the creation of a new homeless strategy office. We know our City Hall reporter, Grace Reeder, and our KXAN team is following the latest for us out of City Hall. They're going to have updates throughout the day.
As rent and affordable housing do remain top of mind here in Austin, we are following an ongoing lawsuit from the U.S. Justice Department. It accuses 6 large corporate landlords for allegedly coordinating to keep people's rent high by using both an algorithm to help set rents and privately sharing sensitive information with their competitors to boost profits.
Joining us today, Jake Wegmann with the University of Texas. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay, let's start with this lawsuit. Give us some context, and really, why does it matter to folks here in Austin?
Well, generally we hope that housing is a competitive market, right? So we don't want it to be something like aircraft manufacturing, where there's just basically 2 manufacturers, right? Boeing and Airbus. Housing's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to have lots of different choices. If you don't like an apartment building over here, ideally you can go down the street over there and find a different one that offers a better deal. And the concern here is that this piece of software called RealPage is collecting information from lots of different landlords who shouldn't really be talking to each other, but they're acting as sort of this hub, and then they are recommending rents that the landlords set for their tenants. And then the concern or the accusation is that if they are calling on these rents to be a little bit higher than they otherwise would be, even if a few apartments stay kind of vacant more so than normal, then that would have an upward pressure effect on the market. That's the concern. That's the heart of the lawsuit.
Yeah, thank you for that context. But we also want to point out, of these 6 corporate landlords that are facing this lawsuit from the DOJ, they include some companies that operate many properties here in Austin.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, one of them is Greystar, and Greystar may be the largest, or if it's not the largest, way up there in terms of the largest owners of multifamily rental housing in the entire country, and they have just dozens of properties around our region.
We know each of these companies has come out with different statements in response to the DOJ allegations, but talk to us about what happens next. We know these lawsuits can take quite a while, but what kind of impacts could renters here in Austin see?
Yeah, so I want to downplay how big of a deal this is if you're a renter in Austin. I'll start by saying I don't have a dog in the hunt. Personally, if something happens and RealPage has to either withdraw its product or make some changes, that sounds fine to me. Price fixing is bad. We don't like to see that. On the other hand, rents have been dropping in Austin over the last couple of years. And companies like Greystar have been building large numbers of new apartment complexes. So they're not acting like they're price fixing. But I guess I would say every little bit helps, and if there's a marginal benefit to the RealPage product being withdrawn, then great. But if it does get withdrawn, I wouldn't count on that to magically make housing far more affordable in Austin than it already is.
Now, your research at UT, we want to focus on that for a second because it really does zero in on affordability for housing. Will you talk to us about, right now in our market, rents are actually dropping on average?
Yeah, I think that may not be completely widely understood, but it's true. Austin has blown the roof off in terms of how much multifamily housing we've built since the pandemic, and that has brought rents down. And I know in affordable housing, we're not supposed to talk about good news because everything is terrible. And of course, there are a lot of big problems. It's not like everything has magically been solved. But that is good news. Tenants have gotten real relief from these rent drops.
So much to follow, and we know we will be watching this lawsuit, but also just the trends that you're tracking and seeing. So thank you so much for putting this into context for us so we can better report on it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for covering it. It's an important set of issues.
Jake Wegmann with the University of Texas. We appreciate your time.